Hey guys, so this is my 32-week pregnancy update. As usual, I'm going to start off with a belly shot. So, as you can see, here we are from the front, and here's my big belly from the side. It feels absolutely huge. And this is one of my nursing nightgowns. If you've never seen or owned a nursing nightgown, basically the difference between this and just a regular one is that it has this little clip right up here that when you need to nurse, it just unclips and you can pull it down for the baby to nurse. It just looked super comfy while I was at Macy's the other day. And I got this along with some tanks, some nursing tanks and nursing bras. And I also got one other nursing nightgown as well. I want to say this was around, I don't know, like $25 or $30. They are kind of expensive, but at least if you get a couple, it's easy to nurse throughout the night, especially if you're going to have the baby. Excuse me just grabbing my boobs in the video. They've been feeling huge lately, so I'm like constantly pulling them up or adjusting my bra or whatever. I do this out in public and I have to remind myself, oh gee, that's probably not appropriate necessarily to just be like all over my boobs. Anyway, so I did just go to my 32-week prenatal appointment yesterday, and everything looks good. The midwife says that I'm measuring perfectly. She didn't give me an exact measurement, and I didn't ask. She just said I was measuring perfectly. She did do what's called palpating my stomach, which basically they just like squeeze really hard in different areas to see what the baby's position is. And it was perfect. He was head down, like his butt was over here, his legs were like coming up over here somewhere. So he was, as long as I hear head down, I'm good. I don't care if you're facing the back, the front. I would prefer that he face the back, because a baby coming out with the back of their head up is probably going to be less painful than having the back of their head down. Because if you think about it, as they're moving through the birth canal, your spine is right behind your birth canal. So as that baby's moving along, if that, like, how your head curves at the back? If that's facing your spine, you're feeling this grating up against your spine, which is a lot of times what people theoretically think causes back labor, which is why you get relief from that sort of when you're leaning forward versus like if you're flat on your back, or even if you're just like in a upright sitting or standing position. So if baby is facing your spine, it's still going to, obviously it's still going to be painful, but you don't get that back of the head curve grating up against your spine as they're moving through the birth canal. So he was literally in the perfect, like most optimal position he could possibly be in. They listened to his heartbeat, rate of in the 140s, so that's still great. And my weight was a little over 113, which I think, did I mention that in my last video? I'm not sure. So I've gained roughly close to 2 pounds, excuse me, within the last 2 weeks. Like 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds, which is pretty much on target. They said at this point, starting around 28 to 30 weeks, you start gaining about 0.5 pound a week. So I'm right on point as far as that goes. And I did go in for my 3-hour glucose test. I believe it was not yesterday, but the Wednesday before that. And everything turned out perfect. It was miserable. And I had to get stuck in each arm twice, because they test you before you drink the glucola, and then they test you every hour after that for 3 hours. And it was miserable. But this time I had the Zofran with me, which I did not have with my first pregnancy. So I took the Zofran about 45 minutes before I went in for the glucose test, just to already get it in my system. And I did also take a Zantac before I went in to cut down on any reflux or anything like that, which I still did have anyway. But I have that all the time now anyway, regardless of what I eat pretty much. But what was nice was they had like a comfort room at the lab that I went to, and they had like recliners and a place to charge your phone. They had a lamp, a TV, all that kind of stuff. I just pretty much kicked my feet up and just chilled and watched Once Upon a Time on my phone, and watched YouTube and just tried to tune everything out. But yeah, other than that, everything turned out great. They said I passed the test with flying colors, and I absolutely do not need to be testing my sugars. So am I glad that I took the test for that reason? Yeah, because it was a pain, and I'm just really bad about routines. I am not a creature of habit as far as like daily stuff. It's hard for me to remember to take vitamins. It's hard for me to remember to, like some people have a perfect set cleaning schedule. I've tried that, and I always end up, like, something always comes up and I'm not home. Like, I have something outside of the house I need to take care of on the day that I'm supposed to be cleaning X, Y, and Z in the house. So something will always happen, and it gets thrown off, and routines just are not really kind of my thing. It's kind of a I'll get it done as soon as I can get it done kind of thing. And that's not the best for someone that's supposed to be testing their sugars regularly, like on point every so many hours. So it's great in that respect. It's also great that I don't have to keep seeing the obstetrician, or shall I say the maternal fetal medicine specialist. It's great that they're not going to be asking me to induce my labor or anything like that, early like they do with gestational diabetics. Was it still a nasty experience? Yes. I hate the dang glucose test. I hate it. They need to come up with something new, something better, and something less nauseating. But anyway, so that was good. My weight was good. My measurements were good. And just in general, I am good for the next 2 weeks. So I go back at 34 weeks. When they said probably around that point is when they'll be more concerned about the baby's position and just making sure he stays in that head down position. Excuse me. Because I was kind of concerned because, I don't know, I feel like I'm bigger sideways this pregnancy than I was the first. So I always take that maybe he's like laying sideways and like stretching out on either side. And they said I really don't have anything to worry about, even at this point. Most babies by around 34 to 36 weeks, that's when they really, flip head down and kind of settle there. So right now they said it's not a big concern. But me just being overly cautious, I'm like, okay, well, if come 34, 36 weeks, he is in a less than optimal position, is there a way I can get him to flip or turn, just kind of maneuver things myself? And they gave me just kind of some general ideas of exercises. They said anything like forward leaning. So just even if for any of my pregnant watchers on here, pregnant viewers on here, like if you just want to lean up against a chair or the couch or whatever and just kind of let your belly hang forward. Also just being on all fours, like in as if you were doing like what is it called, pelvic tilts, where you just have your back like in a neutral flat position, and then you kind of crunch this way to bring your tummy in, and then you go back to that neutral position. Look up pelvic tilts, and you should be able to see what I mean. They have the standing kind, and they have the kind on all fours, which also pelvic tilts are also good for facilitating the baby to move into a different position as well. You don't want to do that, though, if the baby is already in like a perfect position. So, for example, it wouldn't necessarily be a good idea for me to do like actual exercises to put him in that position, because what can happen is if they're already in a head down position, and people start doing like inversion exercises or, just any kind of an actual movement to try to get the baby to move, you can get him to flip in the wrong direction if he's already in the right one. So as long as everything stays a-okay and he's still head down, I'm not really going to do too much to, in the way of those exercises. But exercise in general I have been trying to do. I try to get out for a walk at least anywhere between 1 to 3 times a week. So like I'll walk up to the nearby pharmacy and grab a gallon of milk or something and walk back a couple times a week. I have been trying to dance more again. which is difficult to try and facilitate with a great big belly, because you're used to your movements looking and feeling a certain way when you dance, and then when you have something so big that's different about your body, it kind of throws off your center, your balance, which your balance is compromised anyway during pregnancy. So nothing jolting, no really fast dances or anything like that. Slow dancing is great during pregnancy, so like the waltz, or just a basic, even just a basic box step where you're like leaning and rocking your hips. Belly dancing, like the slower movements of belly dancing, like slower, more controlled movements, not so much like the really quick, like hip shimmies and stuff like that. Obviously that wouldn't be a good idea, nor would it really be very possible to do so with a big pregnant belly. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Some Latin dances are good during pregnancy. The salsa is good because there are faster salsas, there are slower salsas that you can do. So obviously something from a slow to medium pace would probably be best. But that's about it, and I'll probably start doing at least 10 to 20 reps of just basic squats, because squatting towards the later part of your pregnancy can help your baby to really work his head down into the pelvis, and also open up the pelvis more to make room for him to move through the birth canal. And it also it's good for your legs, it's good for your glutes, and it's just all around a good pregnancy workout toward I would say at least toward the middle or the end of your pregnancy. There's also one or two other things that I'm going to try to do as my pregnancy moves, closer to term, to get my body ready for labor. And I'll probably talk about that in another video. Some of the things I'll be trying are going to be, perineal massage, drinking red raspberry leaf tea, and just depending on how long this pregnancy goes on for, I may try a couple of other things, like if it gets, God forbid, past term, like a couple of natural remedies I've heard of. But like I've said in other videos, I really don't think that he's going to go over term. I really don't even think he's going to make it all the way to 40 weeks. I think anywhere between 37 and 39. If he makes it the full 40, I will be shocked. Just because it's so crowded in there, and with all the Braxton Hicks contractions I've been having and how much pressure I've been feeling just in my pelvic area, it really feels like he's like, okay, we're practicing here. We're heading for the exit soon. So I guess anywhere between the next 5 to 8 weeks he should be here. And I'm super excited, and I think that's about it for this update. I will see you guys, either I'll do another video next week, or I'll wait until after my 34-week checkup to check back in with you guys. So as usual, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.